everybody. I'm Steve Rosenbaum. Today I want to share with you some stuff that I've been teaching a long time in my flawless follow-up, and also even going back to my book from 2011 called The Backend Blueprint. And in it, I introduced what I call the leak-proof funnel system. Now, is everybody seeing my screen? This is not all contacts are created equal.
Yep, visual.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and make that bigger for you. Got it. All right. So, you know, I've been specializing in email marketing for quite some time. I've always leveraged technology to sell more stuff. In the corporate world, I did it, and I was bringing email to my companies way back in the 90s, and started going online marketing in the late 90s on my own, and eventually went off on my own 12 or 13 years ago with a little help. I ended up getting fired out of the corporate world, but decided I was never going to work for anybody again. So it only took me nearly 3 decades to get to that point. I just wish it happened 10 years sooner, but here we are. But I've done very well for myself and for my clients with marketing, with email marketing, and now I'm using text messaging quite a bit. And I never did. I never used text messaging until I started using High Level. Even though it's obviously been out there for a while, I just never did it. I always relied on email marketing. But the text messaging does get quicker responses and quicker engagement. Now, mind you, email is still the undisputed king for making sales. And there's lots of studies that back that up that will show you that the email is great, but in terms of quick engagement, quick response, getting people's attention, SMS messaging works better. So what I want to teach you about is today, I'm calling this not all contacts are created equal. And as you start working with clients, you're going to hear a term get used more and more and more when it comes to marketing automation, and it's cadence. Are you guys familiar with that term, cadence? Okay. And the thing about cadence is with marketing automation, we can design some very specific and very sophisticated campaigns that have different cadences, because not all contacts are created equal. And that's what I want to show you today. Now, many businesses that you run into, many businesses that you talk to, that you want to, they want to engage you, you're going to find out that most businesses practice what I call whack-a-mole marketing. And, think of that old saying that says, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? This is the way most businesses do their marketing. It's one message, it's one size fits all, and all they do is try to beat everybody into submission with that one message. There's no segmenting, there's no separation. It's just, let's just blast this out. And, if you watch my hands here, most businesses, they view marketing as pushing out. It's one-way messaging. They're just shouting from the rooftop, shouting from the rafters, right? There's no engagement. They just take that one message and they just pound it out there and push it out there as much as they can. And while there's no engagement, there's no feedback. What's the feedback? Feedback is the opposite. If the businesses are pushing out, what they're missing is the feedback. Feedback is exactly that. It's what you take back in. Frankly, that feedback is what can separate you from incredible success for both you and your clients. Marketing today is not about convincing people that they should do something. It's about being a detective and finding the person that right now is ready, willing, and able to buy your stuff. And the way you do that is by getting feedback. And through that feedback, you gather intelligence. So the whack-a-mole marketing, it has no engagement. They're not getting any feedback, and so they're not gathering any intelligence. But when you market the way that we talk about, it's two-way. We're taking back feedback. We're gathering intelligence. We're engaging customers for response. Does that make sense? Right. So when I say not all contacts are created equal, I basically separate contacts into 4 different types. the first type of a contact is a suspect. All right. The suspect lives outside of your marketing funnel. Here's your marketing funnel. All right. The suspect is out there. The reason they're called suspects is because you suspect there's people out there that want what you want. Now, this is where you have to make a lot of noise and you have to try to get people's attention and you have to go for that engagement. This is where you might do paid advertising. This is where you might do social media. This is where you get yourself out there and you're trying to be visible and trying to get seen. But the most important thing is what? You're trying to create some engagement. You're trying to give them a hook. You're trying to give them a reason to opt into your funnel. And at the point they do that, the point they get into your funnel, we call them a prospect. So what's the difference in this diagram between a suspect and a prospect? Go ahead, Clark.
I was going to say they've indicated they're interested. They've shown interest.
That's correct. And so what else? Now they're inside your funnel. What's your funnel? Your funnel is your system, your high level, right? Okay. So what does that mean? You now also, they've identified themselves. They've connected with you. Suspects are faceless. They're anonymous. They're out there. You're trying to connect with them. A prospect now, this is somebody in your system. You're connected. You could message them back. And that's why they're in that funnel. They're in that mechanism. All right. Now, as your funnel, what it does, notice your funnel is wide at the top and it's narrow at the bottom. Why is that? Why is it wide at the top and narrow at the bottom? What's it doing? It's filtering. Okay, because you got a lot of people going in the top, but it's tapering down, it's filtering. And out the bottom comes what? A customer. All right, so your third type of a contact is a customer. You got your suspects or people that are out there, they're anonymous, you're not connected. You've got prospects, you have connected with them. Now you can message them. Now you're trying to engage them. Now you're gathering intelligence and trying to filter out the people that are ready, willing, and able to buy right now. And if we're really good, what we do with those active customers is what? We take them, we put them right back into the system. And we create this endless loop. We get them to buy again and again and again. We get them to subscribe. We increase their lifetime value, maximize revenue per customer. These are the things that we do when we've got good systems in place. And occasionally, they fall out of that loop. They become lost customers. What do we do with those people? We try to win them back. We do a reactivation campaign. That's the idea of a win-back campaign or a past customer reactivation campaign, something I've called sales CPR in the past as well. Okay. But when I say not all contacts are created equal, it's important to understand where people are in the system because you're going to speak to them differently and you're going to speak to them on different cadences. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. Okay. So in my book, The Backend Blueprint, I introduced what I call the leak-proof funnel system. So this is my proprietary system. This is how I like to think of things, how I like to explain things. And it's a simple acronym. It's L for lead generation. It's E for engagement. It's A for action. And it's C for conversion, i.e. this is where the sale happens. So I'm really good at marketing automation. I'm not so good at spelling. So this is what I call my leak-proof funnel system. And notice what happens here. We follow up. All I'm doing is the same thing I showed you right here. I'm creating this endless loop. The whole idea here is to create this endless loop. When we create this endless loop, this is when we drive sales for our clients, for ourselves, and so forth. Is this making sense, everybody? Let me show you something else here. All right, here is a mind map zoomed out of my leak-proof funnel system. Okay, but within this, What I build into my marketing automation, what I call flawless follow-up, is this. All right, now that looks big and complicated, but it's really not. And I'm going to zoom out now just to give you a 30,000 foot overview, but the bottom line is this. Whereas many people that practice whack-a-mole marketing, all they're doing is shouting from the rooftops and trying to convince somebody to buy something. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to move people. We're trying to identify, where are people? What stage? Are they at the L stage? Are they a new lead?
In progress.
Go ahead and mute if you've got that feedback going on. All right. All right, Jay, I think that's you. All right. Are they now engaged with you at the E stage? Are they starting to take some action? Or have they made a purchase from you? And in each stage, we can put different workflows, different automations with different cadences in place. As people get closer to the conversion stage, what do you want to do? Do you want to lay off, or do you want to step on the gas?
Step on the gas.
Step on the gas. That's exactly right. Most people think when you meet somebody for the first time, hey, take it easy. We all know it takes 7 to 12 messages before somebody buys, right? I mean, I've shown that slide myself, but that's not true. That's only an average. The reality is, when somebody finds you for the very first time, that might be when they're at their absolute hottest and readiest to buy. Because think about it, they found you. How did they find you? They were probably looking for something. They were searching. They came across you. They got introduced by somebody to you because they were in need. When you meet somebody for the first time, one of the first things you should do is filter to find out, hey, are they ready, willing, and able to buy right now? All right, so that's why with the ignition funnel, we always have a strong call to action. There's a good chance those people are ready, willing, and able to buy right now. That's why they found you. They were searching. So different cadences depending on where you are here. Now, if you're just engaging with somebody, which means you're sending out the messages, they may be opening them, they may be reading them, they may be checking them out, but they're not really showing any real urgency, maybe some mild interest. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to step on the gas, or are you going to just kind of serve them and you know, give them, entertain them, educate them, and engage them, you know, just really give up front and earn that reciprocity? What do you think at that stage? Back off a little bit. The cadence is lighter. They're showing mild interest, but they're not showing a real urgency to buy right now. So the bottom line is, when you know where your contact is in the buying cycle, then you could design these systems with different cadences to serve different needs. So that's what this is all about. Questions, feedback while I get some water here. Does it make any sense?
It does. Makes
All right.
sense.
Now,
It makes sense because you don't want to overwhelm them. But you want to let them know if they're ready to buy, you're ready to sell.
correct. You're right. Most people, they're looking for that. They're looking for those instructions. They're looking for you to tell them what to do. All right, so let's get back to the slide presentation here. And let's talk about some of these different funnels that are part of the leak-proof funnel system. And again, this is the way I do things. This is my proprietary system. This is how I do it for my clients. And if, you know, people that come into flawless follow-up, this is what I'm giving them. This doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it, but this is the way I look at things. All right. So one of my funnels is called the ignition funnel. I spoke about that at length a few weeks ago. The ignition funnel for me is the first thing they get from me when I meet them for the first time. It typically is about 5 messages over 2 weeks. And here's what the ignition funnel is. First of all, it's at the L stage. So when I meet somebody, it's a new lead. It's a first contact with a new prospect. It's designed to immediately filter for RWA, ready, willing, and able. I do want to make sure first, filter first. Hey, are you in pain? Do you need to buy right now? I can take care of your needs. And it's to get the relationship off on the right track. What are my objectives? filter first for immediate, or, are they ready, willing, and able to buy right now? I want to maximize the user experience. I want them to think, hey, Steve's different. I like Steve. He's fun, he's entertaining, he's educational, he's smart. I like the way he does it. It makes sense. But what else? Remember what I talked about, the feedback. Gather data for segmenting and personalization. I want information back. I might ask you to fill out a form. I might ask you to fill out a survey. I might watch the links that you click. If my client is a pet store, I might send out an email that says, hey, if you're a dog owner, click here to see our dog specials. And if you're a cat owner, click here to see our cat specials. Why am I sending those links out? Just to show them the specials? Because if I do it, if I'm smart about it, what information can I gain from that? And how's that going to help me in the future? I'm going to be able to segment my cat owners from my dog owners. And there's going to be some that have both, right? How's that going to affect me in the future? Well, I could have more targeted emails. When you got a big list, you don't want to send the same message out to the same people. There's no sense sending out dog specials to people that only own cats, and vice versa. And then set expectations and create anticipation. What I mean by this is, I want them to get used to reading my emails. I want them to look forward to my emails. So my ignition funnel typically is a series of 5 emails. And I let them know that, hey, this is 5 steps to accomplish X, 5 secrets to achieving Y. And then each email might say step 1 of 5, step 2 of 5, secret number 1 of 5, secret number 2 of 5. Why do I do that? It creates that sequence. There's expectations. There's more coming. There's anticipation. Hey, I look forward to that. It's getting people used to seeing me and looking for me in their inbox. That's what separates me from everybody else, if they're looking forward. Now, this is a very old picture. All right. I probably created this 10 years ago, but this is what an ignition email looked like. We don't have to look at all of it, but I want you to see a few things. All right. Number one, in order for that to happen, you have to take action and follow my advice. You can begin by doing these 4 things right now. Notice what I'm doing. I'm telling people what to do. Why am I being so bossy? Why am I telling people what to do? Because I'm monitoring the people that actually do it. What does that tell me? That tells me the people that are listening to me. If I tell people, go over here and join my Facebook page, click on this link and watch this video on YouTube. This helps me know who's engaged. I used to use this, I always say you have to have a call to action. So I used to literally have this big, orange, ugly button. Do you need help now? The funny thing is, nobody clicked on that email, on that button in the first email or the second email. But a whole lot of people clicked on that button several weeks down the road. Because maybe several weeks down the road is when they had that aha moment. Wow, yeah, Steve talked about that. He always had that email with that big orange ugly button. And the funny thing is, they'd go back and find an email and click on the big orange ugly button. I don't use it anymore. It is ugly, but it worked. But the bottom line is this. Here's the important thing. You always have a call to action. You always have a link. You always let them know what to do next, how to reach out to you. And down here, I've got these PS statements. Look at this. Be on the lookout for my unadvertised bonus email series, the top 4 things every business owner can do right now to improve their online reputation. I'll send you the first step in the next few days. What am I doing? I'm setting those expectations. Hey, you're going to get another email from me, and I'm creating anticipation.
Yeah,
that you're looking for that. Exactly. PPS, remember, if you have a reputation question or a difficult situation right now, go ahead and press the big orange button above or simply reply to this email. What am I doing? I'm filtering for people that need my help right now. Now, basically, all 5 emails in this ignition sequence follow these rules. All right, so let's talk about cadence. All right, formatting is not very good on the slide. It's an old slide. The ignition funnel, the temperature, they're hot or warm. Remember, they've just met you, which means they might have been searching for you. It's at the lead generation stage, the L stage. What's the objective? We want to filter for people. What's the pace? It's a quick pace. It's every 2 to 3 days. All right. So that's the cadence. The cadence is, hey, they're hot or they're warm. We're gonna be, fairly aggressive about going for the click. We're gonna let them know it's there in case they do want it, right? Now, what happens if we go through that whole ignition funnel, 5 messages, typically about 2 weeks, and nothing happens? Well, then we might put them onto a nurture campaign, a nurture workflow. So what's the difference here? Okay, the nurture is the next step. Remember, we had L for lead generation, E for engagement. So we generated the lead. They didn't take us up on anything during those first 5 messages. So let's back off. The cadence becomes a little slower, a little mellower. The nurture funnel is the backbone of the leak-proof funnel system. It keeps it keeps in touch with your prospects, bonds and builds rapport, and it continuously filters for that RWA. By bonding and building rapport, we're building that trust, right? We're earning that top of mind presence. We're earning that reciprocity. We're separating ourselves from everybody else that isn't doing this, and they're not doing all these things. We're building credibility and authority. We're showing people, hey, we know what we're doing. We can help you. Keeping that top of mind presence, and most important, by doing this, what eventually will probably happen is we'll end up being at the right place at the right time with the right message. I've spoken about this in the past. Really, that's one of the most important things about messaging consistently is people's situation changes. And when you are consistent and you do this on a regular basis, and really the only way to do this on a regular basis is to automate it, is to build these funnels. When you do this on a regular basis, you win business, because when people's situation changes, your message hits them right at the right time because nobody else is doing it. They've all quit. They're not following up. They don't do it. So that's what a nurture funnel does. Everybody, for me, ends up on a nurture funnel. Prospects, customers, whatever. It's just a reason for me to send out a message, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe twice a week. But it's a reason for me to get people to look forward to my email, to have it in their inbox. Many times people go and find an email of mine in the inbox and reply. Okay, I've earned that top of mind presence because I do this consistently. And then when that time comes, they're like, you know what? Steve's the guy for this. So they go to their inbox, they say, I know Steve just emailed me a day or 2 ago. Go find an email, reply, hit that big orange ugly button, whatever the case is. All right, so let's talk about nurture funnel. Let's talk about the cadence of the nurture funnel. When do you launch it? After the ignition funnel. How do you customize it with links and verbiage? The timing is maybe an email every 14 days. We could back off a little bit. Okay, maybe once a week, maybe once every 14 days. Frankly, I know a lot of people that email every single day. I used to. I'm not currently emailing every day, but there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. Some of the most successful marketers in the world are emailing every single day. Some people do it twice a day. If you're good at it, and if you're bringing value to your readers, they look forward to it, even if it's twice a day. And what's that feedback that you're monitoring for? What are you looking for? Again, replies, people that are ready, willing, and able, people that are clicking on links, people that are following your instructions. So the temperature is warm. It's not necessarily hot. The stage is engaged. The objective is bonding and building rapport, getting people to know, like, and trust you. The pace is moderate and timing is slower. And then we have what's called the forever follow-up. The forever follow-up is a little trick that I've been doing this for a long, long time, and this sucker works. I say it's a savvy beast of a funnel that keeps you in touch with every prospect you meet forever. It's so simple. It's so simple. And you run it right alongside the nurture funnel. It's designed to be at the right place with the right message to the right person, and it prevents leads from falling through the cracks. And it's responsible for a lot of pre-sold calls. It's so simple. It's really, hey, Charles, been a while. Just wanted to reach out and see what you're working on. See if there's any way I can help you. Hit reply, tell me what's going on. That's it. It's a poke. It's a reminder. And what I do is I write anywhere from 3 to 6 of those messages, and I put them in a workflow, and I space them somewhere between 45 and 60 days out. Between each one, and I get to the bottom one, and I loop it right to the top. Forever follow-up. It creates an endless loop, but it means that every 45 to 60 days, you're going to get a ping from me. Very casual. Hey, what's up? Now, one important caveat that I learned here. When I first invented this, I tried to be cute. I tried to pretend that it was really me. Hey, it's Steve. I'm sitting at my desk and was just thinking about you. All right. And people called BS on me, and they were right. You don't need to BS people. You don't need to pretend that you're really right there, really at the desk, really thinking of you right now. People appreciate enough that you put the system in place to keep in touch with them. People like to be reminded. Why? Because we all forget, because we all have busy lives. There's no need to fake it. Faking it is going to get you in trouble. It's pretty embarrassing when people call BS on you. All right, so don't do it. The whole thing is you're bonding and building rapport. You're getting them to know, like, and trust you. So you don't lie and tell people, I was just sitting at my desk and just thinking of you. They won't believe you, and it's going to sound insincere. It's going to sound phony. So don't do it. It's just enough just to put the system in place. Does that make sense, folks? That's a really important point that I want to stress. All right, so the cadence here, warm. It's not pressure at all. You're not trying to sell anybody from a forever follow-up. You're just trying to re-engage them. It's almost like a win-back text message. You're just going for the reply. Enough of these go out, most people aren't going to do anything, but the people that reply, that's why I say those replies a lot of times result in an inbound pre-sold lead, because you're hitting them with a message. It's like, yeah, you know what, Steve? It is a good time for us to talk about, we've been putting this off forever, but now is a good time. Something happened. I lost my job. My daughter crashed my car and I need a new car. Whatever the case is. I've had clients where these messages have been responsible for selling all these things, new cars, whatever the case is, jewelry, whatever. You know what? Yeah, my anniversary is coming up. My wife wants a tennis bracelet. I've sold jewelry. I've sold $5,000 bracelets with these types of messages. All right. So I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. All right, so that's what I mean when I say that not all contacts are created equal. And when we design things this way, it's smart. Our systems can be smart enough to be sending the right message to the right person at the right time. And that's when the sales happen. Questions, feedback. What do you guys, tell me what you think about all that. Let's open it up for discussion.
I like the forever loop. It's so funny because when I used to set up CRMs for dealerships, that was one of the first things that I set up. And it was just a text message, or it was an email that was literally 1-2 sentences, maybe. The only thing we did on, of course, this was years ago, we would, in the template, we would say sent from iPhone, or right. Whatever. Just I
remember that, right?
Years ago, it would trick people, but not anymore.
Right.
just to have that default signature on there. But it worked. I mean, and I always used to tell people, I'm like, what's the worst case scenario? They say no, they opt out. Okay.
Yeah.
At least you know where they're at. That's still an answer. Them opting out is still an answer. And it's, you know, but at the same time, you never know what happens. I mean, whether you're selling SaaS, whether you're selling services or SWAS or physical or, you know, virtual products, things happen. Someone could come into your funnel, they could be hot, and then life happens and they have to put everything on hold. I mean, we've all dealt with it at some point or another in our own personal lives. Why do we expect anything different from our own prospects? And, you know, who knows? Maybe they had a death in the family and it's a horrible situation. They're tied up with lawyers and attorneys trying to settle an estate for the next year. But if you don't keep following up with them, you'll never get that person. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be that often. That's for sure. You think about your own sales experiences, how often you've heard from someone. Wouldn't it just be nice to get a text message or an email every 6 to 8 weeks or 10, 12 weeks?
You're so right,
Stupid
Charles.
simple.
You know, I'll give you two examples from my own personal experience that prove exactly what you're talking about. I met a guy once, his name was Mark, and he owned a shutter company here in Austin, Texas. And I met him at a trade show. And we were both walking the trade show. We were actually both breaking to grab a sandwich for lunch. And so I struck up a conversation with him. And he was interested in what I did. And this was a good 12 years ago. And so after the trade show, I went and called on him. And he says, you know, that's really interesting. He says, but I don't have the budget for it right now because I just started a brand new television campaign and I'm spending $5,000 a month on television. I said, okay, no problem. I went home and he was in my funnel. And my funnel sent him out these forever follow-ups, also nurture messages, but it kept in touch with him, kept in touch with him, kept in touch with him. I personally never called on Mark again. I'm not even sure I ever thought about Mark again. 15 months ago, he replies to one of my forever follow-up messages, and his reply said, you win. You've kept in touch with me better than anybody else. I just fired my television station. I didn't like the results. I want to hire you for $5,000 a month. All right, he took the money from television, gave it to me. All right, we went on, did a sales CPR, which is a type of a win-back campaign. I brought him about $45,000 worth of business from our first campaign. He was a client for a long, long time. And it came from that win back. Now, in his case, it took 15 months of perseverance. But I didn't persevere at all. I had the system in place. And he replied to one of those messages. But that's exactly what happened. It was, by the time the message got to me, it was pre-sold. He already told me, I'm going to hire you and pay you $5,000 a month, because it was the system that pre-sold him. What situation changed? He finally got fed up and said, okay, TV's not cutting it for me. I'm going to try something new. And so he says, and he's thinking, what am I going to try new? Well, guess what? I had earned and solidified top of mind presence, because for 15 months, there I was. I was nurturing him. I was engaging him. I was educating and entertaining and doing the things. I wasn't. My system was doing it. And there's other, but it doesn't always take 15 months. There are plenty of times where I close a sale on the first call. Yesterday, I closed a sale on the very first call. So the thing is, it's about when you meet that person. Are they ready, willing, and able when you meet them? And if not, how do you stay in touch with them so that when their situation changes, you win by default? Peter Drucker has a saying about the definition of marketing. Have we discussed this? Does anybody know what Peter Drucker says is the definition of marketing? I think he says it's the aim of marketing. Does anybody know? He says the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. The aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. What's it mean? It means you don't have to sell. Jeffrey Gitomer, this is Jeffrey Gitomer's book called The Sales Bible. That, I don't know if you can see that cartoon right there. It says, people don't like to be sold, but they sure love to buy. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Oh, I love
Selling,
that line.
yeah, exactly. Selling's not about convincing people anymore. There used to be that saying, he's such a good salesman, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. Today, I think only an a-hole would sell ice to an Eskimo. That's not the way we sell anymore. We don't push things on people they don't need. We deliver value to people. So when they're ready, willing, and able, and they need what we have, we are the only logical solution. Sales today is about, being there, being the only logical solution to what they're looking for, earning that know, like, and trust factor. And interestingly, it can happen on the very first sale, or it could take 15 months. But the good news is when you have a system in place, it doesn't matter. You just keep feeding that funnel. It's wide at the top, it's narrow at the bottom. You let the funnel be the filter. Everybody either looks deeply in thought or asleep. I can't tell which.
Well, I'm increasing my filter. That's what I'm doing.
Jay's not sure yet.
I'm
on, Jay.
taking advantage of second tier affiliates now in the affiliate manager. So
I love that.
So now my affiliates can get me more affiliates.
That's exactly right. All right, so I told you I made a one-call sale a close yesterday. Guess what? It was a referral. That's the easiest way to close sales on the very first call is when they get referred by somebody else. And so do that on a second tier, and you're even broadening your funnel. You're even making that funnel even wider. Great job, Charles. I don't do any paid advertising. Go ahead.
Well, it's just like you're talking about, you shouldn't have to sell. I don't sell, I've gotten 2 huge TEDx coaching companies that have signed on the last week. We're looking at 100+ educators under each one that are all going to be using the platform. It was all done through affiliate marketing. I had to answer some technical questions, but that's to be expected when you're working with a large account. You're going to have those integration technical questions. Other than that, they were sold already. They'd watched a recorded demo. They'd heard raving reviews from someone they both knew through networking. Done.
Love it. All right, folks. All right, so again, I'll open it up. Questions, feedback, or critiquing, anything. Let me open it up and put the ball in your court. How can I help you today?
Well, I just have a comment. I really like the way that you simplified the forever follow-up, because I've done that type of thing for years, but I never thought about, just recycling the same thing over and over. One of the things I tell people, my clients, is that if you've ever thought about your list, a lot of times you'll not unsubscribe from somebody, even if you don't open their emails, because you know that someday you might be interested, and it's easier to let them continue to talk to you than it is to put them in a bucket, try to remember them when you're ready. And almost everybody I've ever said that to says, oh yeah, I do that. There's people that I don't ever read their emails, or I don't read them often or always, but I never delete them because I kind of like to know that they're still out there and I'm still thinking about them.
Exactly right. Thank you, Clark. You know, years ago, in the late 90s, did anybody ever use the ACT database, the ACT CRM? Right, back in the 90s. All right. Do you remember? Did any of you ever have the book ACT for Dummies? Okay. Do you remember the author of that? The author of that, his name was Jeffrey Mayer. Okay. And we're talking about in the 90s. Now, so I did. I started using ACT in 1986, and so when Jeffrey Mayer wrote the ACT for Dummies books, I bought it. And Jeffrey Mayer, on the front page of the ACT for Dummies books, he said, this was a really, really far out concept in the mid 90s. Sign up for my newsletter online. All right. Now, literally, these were in dial-up days. Literally, I was dialing up through AOL. That's when we're talking about, right? And so I signed up for his email newsletter. And literally, these were in the days when you used to be excited to log on and hear you've got mail. All right. And it would be, often Jeffrey's newsletter was called Succeeding in Business. He had a website called succeedinginbusiness.com. That's a great website, right? I mean, think of that domain. That's how early he was. All right. And so every newsletter, Jeffrey started with, my name is Jeffrey Mayer. I'm a coach for salespeople and sales managers and yada, yada, yada. Now, so mid 90s. So I was, right around 30 years old. And, I never really thought about needing a coach at that point. I had a job, and I was doing pretty well. And I didn't think I needed a coach, but then things got a little rocky at work. And I started thinking, maybe I did need a coach. Now, I'd never, ever thought about having a coach, but every week when that newsletter came, to Clark's point, I never read the whole newsletter, but I always remember the beginning. Hey, I'm Jeffrey Mayer. I'm a coach. If you ever need a coach, call me, right? All of a sudden, I decided I needed a coach. He had put that thought in my mind. I didn't even think about it. Then all of a sudden, it's like, I do need a coach. Where do I get a coach? Oh, Jeffrey. I reached out, I hired him. He became my coach in, late 90s. Unfortunately, Jeffrey passed away in 2001. And, but a lot of what I learned, I remember from what Jeffrey was doing way back in the 90s. All right. And he was building a list and he was emailing people. And by the way, he told me he never made a lot of money from the Dummies books. He got like $1 a book, and he probably made about $20,000-$30,000 with those books. But he was smart enough to negotiate the rights he got to keep the content. He was able to do whatever he wanted with the content. He didn't give up the rights to the content. And he started selling ebooks. He took that book that, the Dummies books. He also did time management for dummies. Okay. He took his content, and what he used to be one big book, he took basically each chapter and made it a separate ebook that he sold online for $16. And basically he got to keep all $16. So he made a fortune selling the same content online. How? By building his list and then selling the content to his list. And he was doing this in the 90s. Today, of course, we know that. It just says it goes without saying. That's the way you do things. But Jeffrey was doing that back in the 90s. And that's where but the point is Clark's point. Okay. I put that aside. Jeffrey's newsletter, I glanced at it, never thought about it until I decided I do need a coach. I'm not happy at work. So something's got to change. Where am I going to go? Go back to Jeffrey's newsletter, call Jeffrey and hire him. Absolutely. It works. It absolutely works. Anything else, folks?
Everybody's so energetic today.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, if that's the case, if there's no other questions, we'll close it down for the day. But I appreciate you being here. And I hope that this information helps you. I hope it helps you with your own marketing, with your own clients. The beautiful thing about the tools that we have, most businesses don't have this in place at all. You only need to do this much for them. By the way, to prove that point, okay, many times I call it an MVP. MVP obviously stands for two different things. It also stands for minimum viable process, not just most valuable player, okay? The minimum viable process I talk about are the ignition funnel and the follow-up forever. Think about that. 5 messages for the ignition funnel. So what does that mean? When I meet you today, I want to follow up with you a very specific way. So for me, it's 5 messages over about 2 weeks. And what I'm trying to do is find out, are you ready, willing, and able to buy right now? And I'll meet some people. And yeah, Steve, I need to hire you right now. Great, did its job. Then after that, hand it off to the follow-up forever. Keeping in touch every 45 to 60 days forever. You can do that with as little as 3 emails. So I literally say that with 8 emails, you could put together a system, an MVP system that could be in touch with people forever. 5 ignition emails, 3 follow-up forever emails. That's all you need. And you could write that this afternoon. With ChatGPT, you could probably do it within an hour. And you could have that in place. And then whenever you go out, you network, you meet people, you do BNI, you prospect, you get referrals, you sign up affiliates like Charles does. All right, just put them into that funnel. You're going to get business. And that's what I call putting your back end in place first. And I strongly suggest you do that. And you could do it. It's so much easier than you realize. You don't need to overthink it. You can improve it over time. You will improve it over time. It doesn't have to start off being perfect. If you've got nothing right now, then anything you do is going to be better.
Actually, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Since you brought it up, I'm actually going to my first BNI meeting on Thursday morning.
Good for you.
Yeah. So what are you, in regards of getting new prospects, what do you recommend I do in terms of just not wasting my time talking to the wrong people?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Because BNI and networking can be a big time waster. So I like that you're asking that question. Have you done it before? Okay.
I've networked. I've gone to networking events, completely wasted my time. I'm from the New York area, so I've gone to New York City to go network, but I never talked. I was never around the right people, the right prospects. So, but no, this is my first BNI event, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Well, first of all, I applaud you for number 1 going, but number 2, you're asking the exact right question. And I want you to look around that room, and I want you to think about, is this a room that's going to bring me business, or is this a room that's going to suck my time? Because there are BNI chapters that do both. Okay. And so, but you're already asking the right question, so you're already aware of it. When I go to BNI, I go there to look for referral partners. I don't go there looking for those people to become my customers. I mean, how many people in the chapter? 30, 40, 50? If it's bigger than that, it's huge. You know, you don't go there trying to make those people your customers. But many of those people can become great referral partners for you. I think accountants should be, assuming you do what I do, which is, I mean, you're an agency, right? So, you know, think about the people that are going to be in that room. There's going to be accountants in that room. There's going to be bookkeepers in that room. Okay. Those are people that are serving businesses. So they should be great referral partners for you because you can improve their client's business. Those clients have assets that they're not getting the most value out of, i.e. they're not engaging their list as much as they should. So I think to be on the lookout there is to look out for the people that are serving the people that are the same clients you want. Accountants, bookkeepers, even website designers. You know, ask them what they do and find out. A lot of times I'll talk to people that are website designers or even digital marketers, and I'll simply introduce myself and say, you know what? I don't know if we have, or if we're potential great referral partners or we're competitors, but let's have a one-to-one and discuss it. And let's see. Now, for me, I hate doing lead generation. I don't do SEO. I don't do lead generation. I don't do pay-per-click ads. So I talk to a digital marketing agency, and they might even say, well, I do email marketing. But what they really specialize in is the other stuff that I don't like doing. They want to do the SEO. They do want to do the SEO. They do want to do the pay-per-click marketing. I say, here's the good news. I can do that stuff too. I don't want to. And they'll say to me, here's the good news. I can do what you do, but I don't want to do that either. I said, great, let's become referral partners. Does that make sense? So when I go to BNI, I'm looking for referral partners. All right. And you're going to learn a few things. One saying is givers gain. Okay. I go out of my way to bring people leads. These are awards here. People ask me about this all the time, but it's actually an award from BNI. All right. From the Circle of Trust chapter, the BNI Circle of Trust. That plaque there is an award from BNI. When I go in there, I get very active. I set up meetings with everybody. I make referrals for everybody. I create value for everybody right off the bat. And if they don't reciprocate, I'm out of there. There's some BNI chapters I've been in for a couple of years. There's some that I've left after 6 weeks because nope, not panning out. You're gonna meet realtors. You're gonna meet realtors that come to you and they're gonna say, hey, can you build me something for real estate? Well, sure you can. Okay. But chances are that's, for me, that's not the client that I'm wanting because they wanted me to do something highly custom and their budget was this big. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for quantity. I'm looking for scalability. I'm looking for masses. So I'm looking for the bookkeeper, the accounting, the webmaster that's dealing with these businesses. Say, look, you deal with businesses, I deal with businesses. I've got a very specific function that brings sales back to people. I specialize in follow-up. Does it make sense that we team up and bring each other business? And that's what I look for when I'm networking. I hope that answers your question, Christian. I think it was an excellent question.
That was a great answer. Thank you so much. Now I'm thinking about it differently now.
Good. Those people are that don't go there looking for them to be your clients. Look for them to be your referral partners.
Perfect.
That's all I do in networking, and it works wonders. I look for my golden goose. I look for the people that have my clients already. That's it. And I turn them into referral partners. I put a free course in the chat. It's actually from Google. It's called Effective Networking. It covers different aspects of networking, but it also covers how to evaluate your networking. Because that's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, is that, we look at advertising and marketing spend and we're like, okay, well, I'm only getting this many leads. What's my ROI? But very few people actually look at ROI when it comes to networking. And you definitely need to. Otherwise, like Steve said, I mean, you could potentially waste a bunch of time. But as long as you know what to look out for. But it's a 30-minute course. So it's nothing crazy. It's from Google, so it's free.
Great stuff. Thanks, Charles.
Yeah.
Christian, look for somebody like this. This is, there's always somebody like this in every BNI chapter I've been in. They do these mailers. These are advertising mailers, okay? And they're filled with businesses. And there's always somebody that does this in a BNI chapter. And think about it. They're doing business already with all these businesses. And all these businesses, you can improve their advertising because what are they not doing? Most of them, what are they not doing from these ads? What's that, Christian?
Call to action.
Yeah. Well, they are, but their call to action is they're trying to make a sale. They're not building a list. What I would do for all these people is I would help them build a list. And so you could team up, you could make this person an affiliate. And High Level has affiliate capabilities built into it. and say, look, you refer people to me. These people will love it because now you're giving them another revenue source. Pay them 20% commission every month that their client is in here. You tell them, now take your ad, and instead of saying, get a big discount when you buy today, say, opt in and I'm going to send you a coupon. Now they're on a list. You can follow up with them forever. Plus you can measure the response. So it's people like this that are great networking opportunities for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. So you're a GHL agency?
Yes.
Congrats. Congrats on that.
Marketing, digital marketing, and I want to work with like plumbers and HVAC and contractors.
Okay. Good for you. Good for you. All right. So in my BNI group, there happened to be a consultant to home services people. So that was excellent because look, there's going to be a plumber, okay, and there's going to be an HVAC person, and there's going to be a roofer in that BNI group. That's great. So you could get 1, 2, or 3 clients. But in my group, there happened to be a consultant that worked with those people. He had a list of 30, 40, 50 different home services people across the country. That was a great guy for me to network with. So always look for the influencers, like Charles said. He's exactly right.
So should I not try to sell to the plumbers? Like, should I not speak with the plumbers if they're there? Or
no, I don't want to tell you don't do it. Just don't. That's not the purpose of you joining BNI, is to turn those people into your clients. Some of them will become your clients, but that's not the purpose. All right. The purpose is really to network, is really to grow exponentially. So if you find a couple and especially if you're just getting started and you need the clients, there's nothing wrong with taking them on. Just don't go there with the purpose of going there trying to turn those people into your clients, because there's not enough business in that room for you. Okay.
okay, thank you.
That clarifies it. Yeah.
And thank you, Charles. I'll check out that course.
Sell through the room, not to the room, says Charles. That's an awesome saying.
What was the course, Charles? The Google course you mentioned?
It's just on effective networking. It covers multiple aspects, not just growing your business, but also job hunting, and because it's a general course. But it just talks about effective online and in-person networking, how important it is to look at the ROI. But the link's in the chat. So
Yeah, hey, I got a question for
Yes,
you,
sir, Jay.
Steve, for any others, and maybe applies to Christian as well. And one of the approaches that I have kind of taken, although I haven't rolled it out at any scale, is to approach somebody and say, hey, I'm just doing a bit of market research, would you mind if we had a quick conversation so I could get to understand a bit about your industry? You're not trying to sell to them. You put them on a pedestal as an expert, stroke the ego a little bit. They are plumbers, but you're just trying to say, hey, I just want to understand the industry a little bit better. And so you don't do the hard sell to them. They find out that you're trying to help plumbers anyway, but you really that conversation, asking a couple of questions broadly about the industry so you can get a little bit better of an idea. Does that seem disingenuous in terms of, could that approach work? Another version of that is, I'm writing a research report. Do you mind if we had a 15-minute interview? I'm collating, information from experts in the market. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that approach to just getting in front of somebody in a soft way?
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite, but I'm only giving you a personal preference. Okay. So it's my own personal biases. It doesn't mean it's not good. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's been around for a long time. You asked me a question, is it disingenuous? Why are you asking me if does it feel disingenuous to you? Why does it feel potentially disingenuous to you?
I think unless, so the second aspect of that is where you basically say, hey, I'm speaking to a bunch of experts and collecting this into a report, unless you actually give them the report back, and then
That's a good point.
You're talking shit. So
there you go. So that sounds disingenuous to me when you put it that way. And so, yeah, first of all, are you intending to do it? Okay. Secondly,
yeah.
here's the thing, Jay. I want people to follow me, to hire me, to listen to me, because they think I know an answer. But if I'm going there and I'm basically saying, I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Mhm.
By the way, now that you've told me that, will you hire me for $2,500?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work for me. It's also been around for a while. All right. And here's what I always say. I say this about myself. Okay. My two most valuable assets are my time and my knowledge. Okay. And when people are asking me for my time and my knowledge for free, I call them tire kickers and brain pickers. All right.
Mhm.
That's my product. That's how I feed my family. So I don't want to give it away for nothing. Now, I don't know if a plumber looks at it that way, but that's the way I look at it. I mean, this is what I'm selling. I literally have on my website, I literally have checkout page, pick Steve's brain, $500 per hour. And literally when people come to me and they say, Steve, can I pick your brain? I say, absolutely. Here's the link. They go to check out. It's like $500. No, I wasn't talking about paying you. I said, oh, well then no, then the answer is no, you can't pick my brain. So anyways, these are my own thoughts on that subject. I don't care for that approach, but it's a personal bias. It's only an opinion.
I think it makes sense in terms of not looking like the expert. I mean, there's, my expertise previous to this was selling enterprise CRM to enterprise companies. I'm like at the enterprise, always have been, right? And so I can't go sell a little teeny CRM to any of my previous, my vertical, right? So I've got to go into another vertical where I don't have expertise. My expertise is going to be in the systems and the software or whatever else. But to understand any vertical that I'm going to go into, I'm going to need to tap on somebody to get some understanding of that vertical.
Jay, you might be surprised. I think if you've got the experience that you have, all right, I don't think it's ever about the software anymore. I think it's about the process. And the reason I can do things for people in just about any industry is because I have found that it's the processes, like what I showed you, a process called a leak-proof funnel system. However you want to lay it out. I'm not telling you that my system is the only way to do it. However you want to lay it out. But what you understand is you understand processes. So you know software, and that's fine because they don't know software. But what they're really missing is the process. And I'll tell you what else they're missing. And I can remember this. I can remember this from 10 years ago. I was on a call with somebody. And I used the word strategy instead of process. Okay. He was telling me about, he had marketing consultants doing, I got somebody getting me a lot of friends on Facebook. I got somebody doing this. I got somebody doing that. I said, who's helping you with strategy? What's the strategy for all this? And he looks at me, he says, I don't have a strategy. I need a strategy. All right. And Jay, I think you probably understand strategy. I think you probably understand process. I think if you make this about software, you're going to make it a whole lot harder for yourself than it has to be, because business owners don't want software. They want strategy. They want processes. They want results.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Folks,
I'll tell you what's worked for me, Jay. And it's exactly what's on my screen. Hey, let's just go have a chat over coffee or lunch. Like, let's just get to know each other. If this is people that I'm networking with, we're in BNI or we're in networking group or a local chamber or whatever, they're used to invitations like that all the time. And they know that there's some kind of opportunity, but it's not disingenuous. And oftentimes it'll let their guard down to where it is just an open conversation. And you genuinely learn more about each other, and you start to build that relationship. That's what I find in today's, because I know if someone came up to me and said, hey, I'm working with this new, industry, I'm looking to do more research. Okay, what are you selling?
Yeah.
Like, let's just get to the chase here, because nobody does surveys anymore. Come on. That was 20 years ago. What are you selling?
Mhm.
But the fact that you even asked the question is the answer. You know it's disingenuous because otherwise you would have never asked the question.
Thanks for rolling that.
There's that too.
Yeah.
So, and I love to say mutual wins and mutual opportunities to Charles' point, whether it's coffee or whether it's connecting with somebody on LinkedIn, what another way to approach the same thing. Okay. And this is a way to do it that is not disingenuous. I'm trying to think of what the opposite of disingenuous would be. Okay. But here's a way to do it. Okay. Look, I'm an expert in these types of processes, and I've made them work in many, many, many other industries. And I have a feeling that we could have success in your industry too. So I'm looking for somebody where we could create some mutual opportunities for each other. Does that make sense? Should we have some coffee? Should we have a Zoom call, a one-to-one is the way they say it in B&I, right? So does it make sense that we discuss mutual opportunities? And there you're saying, look, I do have an expertise, but you have a specific expertise that if we put our minds together, we can create opportunities for both of us. I'm not looking for you to become my customer. I'm looking for you to become my referral partner. Let's go out and build business together. And that's how I approach networking. That's how I approach every relationship. And when somebody approaches me on LinkedIn and I could tell that all they want to do is sell me, I'm not interested. If they say, hey, do you want to discuss potential business relationships? All day long. I'll talk to you all day long.
Yeah. My closest B&I is an hour and a quarter away.
And that's how I've grown my business. My business it's really been by referral and partnering and joint venturing and all that kind of stuff. 2-tier affiliate programs like Charles is setting up, that is the fastest way to grow. And if you're just starting off, it's the best way to grow. Christian, another great referral partner of mine, was an old radio salesman. These radio sales guys, they made a lot of money. It used to be a very lucrative job. So you find a lot of guys that are a little older, Christian, but they know everybody in town. And they understand the concept of marketing. They understand the importance of recency and frequency of messaging. And they know everybody in town. And I got a client that turned out to be a $40,000 client for me because the radio guy walked me in and said, you got to talk to Steve. He's got this sales CPR reactivation program. And he could take your list of 16,000 people that you've got on constant contact right now and generate business for you. And I did. I generated $22,089 in 4 days for him. And he went out and hired me for more and more and more stuff. Referral partners are the best way to go when you don't know anybody, when you're just getting started. If you just convince somebody that you know what you're doing and they'll introduce you to people, it's the easiest way to win right off the bat. All right, folks, great session. Everybody woke up. It took a little while, but there we go. I appreciate you all. Thanks for being here.
I threw a link in there. If you've never done online networking, if it's something you want to try, Lunch Club is a quick and easy, down and dirty online networking platform. Basically, you fill out your profile, you say what days you have available on your calendar, and it pre-books your calendar. And then you just get matched with random people based off of your interest in industries. But it's a good way to kind of get your beak wet when it comes to online networking.
One of your favorite dating websites. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
It can be
All right,
intimidating. So
I would like to say thank you. And I really like the conversation about the networking and all that kind of stuff. Because
Thank you, Shira.
I love the philosophical things about the business and the relationships that we can build. And to learn about the software, we can learn on YouTube all day. But this kind of conversation is very special. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that means a lot to me. Shira, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, Shira.
Shira, thank you. That means a lot to me. And that's what I enjoy speaking most about. So I'm not sure I've seen you here before, but I do this every Tuesday afternoon in the Extendly coaching room.
Yeah, I got it from the Facebook group. I just got into the Facebook group.
Well, terrific. Well, welcome to Extendly, and I'm Steve Rosenbaum, and I'm very happy to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shara. Everybody have a great day.
You too. See you guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.
Do you want a proven way to increase your lead generation on your website and sales funnels, as well as add an additional revenue stream to your agency? Check out www.chatHQ.io today and start your free account.